Guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming to you guys with another book review. First one I did was sort of in conjunction with a movie, but this time it's just going to be a straight book talk. I'm really excited. I haven't posted in a while, so I'm ready to get back into it with you guys. If you have any comments, recommendations, anything like that, please do hit me up down in the comment section down below, and let's get started. The book that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys today is is Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She is most popular right now for her TED Talk, We Should All Be Feminists. I know I've been seeing it a lot around booktube channels, but this is also one of her really well-known works, as well as Half of a Yellow Sun. Okay, so this story is a dual perspective POV. Basically, it follows two main characters, Ifemelu and Obenze. They are Nigerian, and I guess you could call them sort of like sweethearts. And it's not just like, you know, when they're younger, because it actually does follow them up until, you know, their adult years. But basically, it has a lot to do with the change in political and social climate in Nigeria during the time that it was set. So basically, it comes down to Ifemelu and Obenze, in order to, you know, gain more opportunities for themselves, they are making the decision to migrate elsewhere. So Ifemelu, she actually migrates to the United States of America. However, Obenze is unable to for some unforeseen reasons, and he decides to migrate to the UK. Overall, I would have to say I really enjoyed this story. I don't even know if I had to give this book a rating, it would have to be a 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. And that's just because it really got me involved with the characters and the story and the plot. Like, this wasn't a book that I you know, got bored with and had to pick up another book with. Like, no, this book held my attention for like a solid week. Guess what I could say about this book that really did it for me is just the voice of both narrators. I know I've heard some reviews with people saying that, you know, it was just overdone, or they couldn't distinguish between Ifemelu's character and Obenze's character. But to the contrary, I found their voices very distinct and very true to real life. I noticed that there's a lot of play on the internal and external challenges that someone who might migrate to another country, especially those of African, Black, however you want to define yourself, descent, going into other countries, especially within the United States. There's a heavy focus on the United States because Ifemelu, I feel like, is the main character over Obenze's character. She really goes through a lot of struggle internally, and I feel that speaks to a lot of things that women do tend to do. Just from, you know, in my experience, women tend to internalize things more. And so it's just about her following that journey of, you know, she grew up having a sure mind of who she was and where she fit in and how she saw her life. And then when she came over here to the United States, that whole social construct was changed. Is, you know, she's not only a Black woman in the United States, but she's also an African immigrant in the United States, and it played off those differences as well between the Black African American community and those non-Black Americans, or how did she put it? She put it African non-Black Americans. It definitely played off of her trying to find herself in a way of who she was and what she was comfortable with. You know, it talks about her struggles with her natural hair, you know, more so in how United States community sees it and how, you know, the community in Nigeria sees it. She also dealt with weight issues. You know, she also dealt with, you know, whether to keep her Nigerian accent or to play an American accent, so that way she wouldn't get looked at, you know, sideways or any type of way like that. And it really started from the inside with her, and it really spoke to, you know, the depression that she went through, and, you know, the sort of isolation that was both imposed on her and that she inflicted on herself. Was really intriguing to me because you don't really hear about the psychological difficulties that immigrants go through, especially because me being a counselor, I love reading about that type of stuff because it just gives you that real heartfelt perspective. And you know, and a lot of times with other countries, they don't really put a heavy emphasis on, you know, mental health or disabilities and how they might, you know, affect one's life and one's being. These are populations that are heavily marginalized in other countries, even in this country, that are, you know, overlooked and aren't really, you know, taken into consideration. So I'm really glad that Chimamanda touched on that as well. Then you have Obenze's character, you know, someone who was very sure of himself, very well, you know, educated and well off in Nigeria. And then, you know, he sort of had this image of how his life was going to be with Ifemelu, and that sort of is thrown to the wind when they're separated. And, you know, she's going through her things and he's not quite understanding what she's going through. But then when he migrates to the UK, he's going through a lot of external stuff, and that sort of, you know, it's like the outside coming in. So, you know, him finding difficulty with securing a job, securing, you know, citizenship status, those outside things are sort of triggering how he's feeling. Whereas Ifemelu stuff is sort of starting within and is sort of affecting everything that goes on around her. I think that was the best part of this book, is just hearing the distinct voices and the different things and perspectives from a man's perspective, from a woman's perspective, from someone who migrates to the US, from someone who migrates to the UK. So I felt like this book really just opened things up. And I'm not even gonna lie, there was one part, let me tell you, there was one part where towards the end, I'm not giving any spoilers, but I shed a tear. That's how I know that I really enjoyed a book, is if I cry. It could be a happy cry, it could be a sad cry, it can be I'm LOLing so hard a tear comes down. Like, that for me is my gauge of whether or not it was a good book for me. There were a lot of things. I wasn't expecting this book to be as funny as it was, but Ifemelu's like internal dialogue, even though she's like, you know, an immigrant from Nigeria, like, me and her have so many things in common. Like, I felt like I was listening to a girlfriend talk. And a lot of the things that she was, you know, pointing out that are different between Nigerian culture and American culture, it reminded me so much of so many people that I've grown up with, or first generation Nigerian and things like that. So, you know, I've had, you know, gone over their houses and I've heard their moms and grandparents and their aunties and their uncles speak, and it's just exactly how she described it in the book. And so that's what made it so cool for me, is that I felt a very like nostalgic feeling. Like, there was one example, like when we sneeze, we say bless you, but in Nigeria, when people sneeze, they say sorry. And I had a coworker that I used to work with, and she was like in her 40s, 50s, and every time I sneezed, she would say sorry, and I'd be like, huh? Sorry for what? I'm like, girl, you crazy. And I was like, but now I get it, and it's just like that whole culture difference that we're so unaware of, and that's so like, it was just cool to me to really read on it and read from that sort of perspective. But I think anybody who wants to read from the perspective of someone who might be migrating, or immigrants' perspective, I say pick up this book. So yeah, I thought this was a great book. Like I said, if I had to give it a rating of 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I'm eager to jump into her next works. I have Half of a Yellow Sun, which I'll probably get into in the near future. And yeah, I'm just really excited. And I know she has a new book out as well, but I can't remember the topic. But I really appreciate this book, and it was good times for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope it helped some of you guys make the decision if you want to read it. If you guys have any other questions, comments, or, you know, if you like what you heard, or if you want more like book review videos like this, you know, just let me know. Let me know down in the comments below. And, you know, don't forget, like, click, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff. See you guys next time. Peace, love, and happy reading.